When you go to a stadium to watch your favourite team, it's about family, community and the connection we share. This is what Stadium Real Estate is about too. Hi, I'm Rachel Laurie and we believe every client deserves a front row seat on their real estate journey. At Stadium Real Estate, our people are the main event and we're 100% committed to helping you get a winning result. Family, community, connection. That's Stadium Real Estate. So get in touch with us today, stadiumrealestate.com.
Yes, welcome to another edition of Straight Bat, talking Adelaide Turf Cricket, proudly brought to you by the Arkabar Stadium Real Estate and Platinum Print Group. We'd like to introduce our partners in crime tonight. Shane, our producer. How you going, Shane?
Good, Raj. Good to be here again.
Warm one outside, but good to be in here doing a podcast.
It's a bit warm in here at the moment too.
And we've got a couple of special guests with us tonight from the Brighton Cricket Club. Current captain Matt McInerney. How you going, Matt?
Good, Raj. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for coming in. And we've got a former legend of the Brighton Cricket Club as well, Paul Dale. How you going, Paul?
Good, thanks, Raj, and good to be here.
Yep, so we're going to talk all things Brighton tonight, aren't we, Shane? So a bit of a Brighton flavour. And we might kick it off with you, Paul, and just have a chat to you about some of your career at Brighton. You played a little bit of junior cricket down at Glenelg, but how was it that you actually ended up at Brighton?
Well, I actually started at Brighton when I was 12, and then when I was at high school, we were playing in the morning at school and then in the afternoon at Brighton, and then played in the Shell Shield at Glenelg over the school holidays, which was my dream. To play cricket every day of the week was fantastic. And then after that, I played a couple of seasons at Glenelg, but always I just wanted to play for Brighton.
Yep.
So I went back to Brighton after that.
Beautiful.
Nice. Paul, like to open the batting and a fan of a bit of back foot play?
Yeah, I did like to hook and cut, successful sometimes and not others. But I did like that. And I did also like to hit the opening bowlers back over their head too, because I thought that was good.
Paul, is it true that batting on Brighton wicket was tough back in the 1960s with the pitches being a bit of a green top?
Yes, it was. We didn't need to make a lot of runs in those days, though, because we had a pretty good attack. And we always thought if we made 125, 130, we were going to win most games. So, but it wasn't bad. You know, it wasn't a bad track, but yeah.
Bit lively early, was it?
Yeah, you had to be on your mettle.
Yeah, okay. Well, you obviously were with 198 A-grade games and over 6,000 runs. It's a pretty incredible record, and I think you're in the Hall of Fame as well at Brighton. Sure. So that record must be something you're pretty proud of.
Well, I guess while you're playing, you don't think about things like that, and I really didn't know all about those records until they produced the 150-year book, and all of a sudden it started to sink in. But I just loved playing at Brighton. It was our life. I started going there when Dad was playing and I was 5 or 6. And then, when we were playing, it was a great family club and all the wives and kids came and it was just sensational. Yeah, great.
That leads on to the next one. 66-67 semi-final. You put on a century stand with your dad in a semi-final against Paynham.
We did.
You remember about that one?
I remember everything. It was, I was batting number 3 in those days. I was only young, teenager. And Dad had come back to the club and he was coaching and looking after the juniors in the lower grades and made a heap of runs there. But they asked him to come up and play in the A grade for the finals. So he did. And when Dad came in, I think we were 3 or 4 for not many. And we batted till tea, and after tea, and we made just over 100 partnership.
How good?
I made 70 odd, and he went on and made 129. But it was just sensational. It was just a moment that you'd never dream of, and it was just brilliant.
Bylaws must have been a bit different in those days, Shane. No qualification required in the A grade. You could just slot straight back up to the.
What's that? You could go anywhere. Yeah.
Nice. So, Kevin, your dad was a fantastic player and scored 1,060 runs in the 1963-64 season. Can you tell us a bit more about him as a player and what type of player he was?
He was an attacking player. Loved batting. Hated getting out, and he'd bat all day if he could, and he did a lot of times. But he was the same. He hooked and cut, and he loved to drive, and he opened the batting sometimes. And when he came back into the senior side, he batted down the list, But that year that he made 1,060, I think that stood till not that long ago.
I think until Duffett broke it, probably about 06, 07, so it stood
Something
for a long
like that,
time. Yeah. And a couple of premierships, 66, 67, and then 77, 78. So a fair gap between them. But what can you remember about the two premierships?
Well, the first one was fabulous because Dad played and we won that. And that grand final was at Hawthorn Oval.
Yep.
And it was a bit of a wet weekend and wasn't a very high-scoring game. But anyway, we won. So that was great. And the next one in 77, 78 was at Payneham. I think we played the grand final against Edwardstown. And I opened the batting, and Jeff Barnes, who opened the bowling for South Australia, loved to bounce and I loved to hook. And I'd hook whether it was the first ball of the day or the last ball of the day. So this was the first ball of the day, I hooked it and caught it deep finally.
Oh, no.
So I made it the first ball of the day in the grand final. But we won, so that was great. Yeah.
That's it. So after that, in the 80s, you returned and you become instrumental in setting up the junior program at Brighton.
No, not necessarily instrumental. It was there. We always prided ourselves in a great junior program. And Norm Dixon, who was, he'd come over from Victoria, played, I think, Richmond Cricket Club when he was in Victoria. But he was fantastic. He coached the club as a senior coach, and then he looked after the juniors as well. And he moulded juniors because we always had a lot, and he moulded them into super players and, played a lot of games for Brighton.
Nice.
That was good, but I helped him,
Yep.
But it was Norm, not me.
You came out of retirement in 1992-93 to captain the C grade. What do you remember about that year?
It was a couple of years I think I did that. Again, I came back just to help the kids out because the kids then that, my son had come through with all his mates and we were all mates and, they just needed a bit of help and guidance along the way and, I helped them out. I didn't bat all through the minor round but batted in the finals. But we just got knocked off in the grand final, unfortunately. But it was great. And I just loved playing with the kids.
Yeah, well, you obviously got the opportunity to bat with your son Ryan, which must have been special. So you played with your dad and your son, which must be some sort of record. But how was that playing with your son, I guess, and batting with him?
Yeah, like batting with Dad was sensational. It was just the same with Ryan. It's a dream that just sensational. And we loved it, and I loved batting with him. They were the two highlights of my cricket career.
Nice. So along with obviously you playing and mentoring the young kids, 4 years as president, how'd you go with finding the president's role?
Yeah, well, it's not so much the president because he's just the figurehead. It's everyone you have underneath you, the committee and all the volunteers, and we had a fantastic group in those days, and they were the ones, and because the club was struggling a bit at that time, and we got it up and running and turned it all around, and and there was a lot of people contributed a lot to it, and I did enjoy the 4 years because it was working with all those people and achieving the results we wanted to.
Nice.
So it was good.
Across your career, who were some of the better bowlers you faced?
Well, probably the best and the quickest I faced was Alan Frost. He just come back from touring New Zealand with the Australian second side, and they changed the rules in district cricket to play cricket on Sunday, and I think he was religious and didn't play on Sunday, so he came and played Adelaide Turf. And I'll never forget the first ball I faced from him. I just didn't see it, and he was really quick. But eventually I think slips couldn't catch him because they were going too fast and all that. But no, he was great. Terry Jenner. Super spinner, played with and against Terry. Jeff Barnes and Alan Stanford, they opened the bowling for South Australia and they came and played for Edwardstown. Bob Roxby, a long time ago, he was a leg spinner that came from New South Wales. Lots. In those days, a lot of Shield cricketers and district cricketers came and played Adelaide Turf because it was a pretty high standard because you had all these great players playing. So, there's heaps of them.
We've got a few test players rolling through at the moment in A1, haven't we, that we might talk about a bit later.
Yes.
But And a fantastic setup down at Brighton now with the club rooms and the rugby club and whatever.
Yeah.
Do you still get down there and follow the results now much?
I follow them as much as I can in the paper, but they're not always in there. But yeah, I've been down twice this year.
Yep.
I don't get down as much as I'd like to, but yeah, it's I still love the club.
Fantastic. Well, Paul, we might run through what we call the Mad Minute here. So we've got a few quick fires for you and see what you got for us.
Right.
Favourite cricketing memory?
Oh, batting with Dad and Ryan.
Yep.
Best thing about Brighton Cricket Club?
Oh, the family attitude, the whole ethos of the club. That we were really, really competitive when we went out on the field, but afterwards we're all mates and we always have a drink with the opposition, and the opposition would always have a drink with us at Brighton, and it was just fantastic. And the whole family was involved. The wives were involved, young kids. It was a huge part of our lives.
Your favourite cricketer?
Ian Chappell.
Nice.
What about favourite sports person?
Oh, well, I love Ian Chappell, but football-wise, there was a guy that played for Sturt many years ago when I was a kid called Len Fitzgerald, and he won 3 McGarry medals.
Yep.
And he was way ahead of his time. I thought he was sensational. I mean, Dawn Fraser's a super sportswoman. I love Shane Warne. But yeah,
Drink of choice?
red wine. The Shiraz.
Favourite AFL team?
Oh, Barrack for the Crows.
Yep.
Best innings that you played?
Well, I loved the two that I played with Ryan and Dad, but there was one innings at Brighton when we were struggling to stay up in A grade, and we played Spock down there, and I made 100, and Paul Sheehan was playing for Spock at that time.
Yep.
And he was very complimentary after the game, so I thought, and I felt that was probably one of my best innings.
You've mentioned a few, but who was the best player you've played against?
Jeepers. There's a lot of them. The best player I've played against. I really don't know.
Too many to choose
Too
from.
many, yeah. It's there were just heaps and heaps of them. You know, every side had great players.
Yep.
And yeah.
Funniest teammate?
Oh, probably Lance Bailey. Bales always had a joke.
And greatest player at Brighton Cricket Club, in your opinion?
Well, probably I can only talk about the time I was there, because there's lots and lots of, well, Dad's made the most centuries. But I think in my time, the person that had the most influence on the Brighton Cricket Club, he could change a game. He was a brilliant captain, is Wayne Burton. And he was nicknamed the Mayor. And he had a great influence on a lot of people at the club in our time and brought the best out of everyone. So I'd say in my time, look, there were so many other good players, but in my time, I'd say Wayne Burton.
Fantastic, Paul. Well, great to reminisce about some of the old days at Brighton. And no doubt, Matt, that ethos still lives on today, does it? The family
Absolutely.
club and the competitive spirit on the field?
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely.
Something that's been handed down through the generations, Paul, so
Oh.
you can be proud of that.
It's fantastic, yeah.
But we might take a quick break now, Shane, and we'll come back and chat with current captain of the club, Matt McInerney.
Now's the time to dry something new. Cooper's Dry 3.5, a low-carb, mid-strength lager. Light and easy drinking with a crisp and refreshing finish. Go on, give it a dry. Get it at your local and chuck it in your fridge.
Welcome back to Straight Bat, talking Adelaide Turf Cricket. We're talking all things Brighton tonight. We've had the past legend Paul Dale, now we've got current captain Matt McInerney. Matt, tell us a bit about your cricketing journey, where you've played and how you ended up at Brighton.
Yeah, I grew up in Mount Gambier, played at North Gambier or North Sportsman's Cricket Club, and come through the ranks there, and was quite lucky that we had really good mentors. I'm not sure if you know Michael Sylvie from around cricketing circles, Michael Johnson, who were just elite leaders and taught us young blokes a lot. So we were lucky to play with them, and lucky enough to win 5 or 6 flags as a young fella coming through, and then made the move to Adelaide in 2019. Brother Stephen was at Brighton.
Yep.
But was really keen to get to Glenelg and have a crack at some district cricket, which is the southeast zone. That's where you typically come to. 4 years at Glenelg, and absolutely loved my time there. I did an ACL during COVID, which set me back a little bit at the pub, not in sports. So that was an interesting time. But and then the following season, 21-22, we lost the flag in the B grade. And then my last year there was 22-23, where we were top all year and dominated, and looking like winning a flag. So I was keen to finish on a flag, and I was socialising at Brighton a lot with my brother and the boys there. So I thought it was a good time to go there and captain them. And I've loved absolutely every minute of it. It's a great club.
Fantastic.
How's the boys found the move from the A2 up to A1s this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously stronger. I find the teams don't drop away as quick. So, if you take a few early polls last year, you typically run through a side. Where this year you've got to work hard all day. You can't, take your foot off, and teams have class batters. We found out on the weekend, Herman from Paraka, who's obviously made a lot of runs. Yeah, he come in and batted really well at the end, where in previous seasons we might have run through him and bowled him out. So I think that's the biggest difference for me. Yeah.
There's been a bit of that in the looking at the results in the last few weeks. 7, 8, 9 making some runs makes a huge difference when you're out in the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not fun as a bowler.
It sucks, yeah. Particularly in the afternoon, where Brighton's at an extremely flat deck.
Yep.
Not a lot for the bowlers, so you've got to find a way to come up with wickets. It can be difficult, but yeah.
And so sitting 3 and 4 in 6th spot now, how have you seen your season to date?
Yeah, well, we got off to a really good start with an outright against Port Districts, which was a bit unexpected, and then we had a good win round 2, and we were around the top. Since then, we've lost 2 games 9 down last week against Goodwood. That broke my heart, but that was a great game of cricket, and they're a quality side. And then we lost to Grange 9 down when we thought we probably could have won that as well. So if we win those 2, we're second or third, but the reality is we didn't.
Yep.
So we're 6th, and I think we're not far off. I think it was mentioned on the pod last week that we're just maybe a strike bowler short or 2 to really break the game open. And we're improving every week. Our fielding's improving a lot from where it was. So we're just looking to get better, and I think with a player or 2, we can be around the mark for the next few years. Yeah.
Yep.
A bit of a tough one out in the field on Saturday. Gareth Pheasant took a few. What can you tell us about him?
The great South African man. He's a champion. Interesting story. It was midway last season, just before Christmas. We got an email out of the blue from a guy who'd moved over from South Africa into Hove and drove past the club and went, "Oh, that looks all right." And we said, "Yeah, come out to training." And he's straight away, he was into it. He's great socially. And he played B grade mostly last year just because we had a pretty set team, and had a good pre-season, and is a left arm ortho, who's a point of difference. And yeah, it's just been great to see him do really well.
He's a big unit. He came into the office the other day to pick up his carton of Coopers for
Yeah.
getting player of the round. And
those.
he'd be pretty intimidating bowler to face. I think you'd probably be happy he's not coming off the long run, given the size of him. But yeah,
he's an
left arm tweakers.
angry South African left arm off spinner, but he's a great man.
So a bit of a big chase then next week, 317 I think it was, but the Brighton wicket playing okay, not as spicy as when Paul was playing, so you might back yourself in to chase that down?
Yeah, I mean, making a solid score against Goodwood, batting almost the 80. We left a few out there, but gives us confidence that we know we're around the mark against the best sides, and especially at home. Early in the year, we made 460. So we know if we bat our overs, we're a bloody good chance. So yeah.
Yep.
Who would you say some of the youngsters or up-and-comers to keep an eye on for future seasons?
Yeah, we've got quite a young crew. I mean, a lot of our juniors who, especially our really talented ones, do head off to Glenelg, and we're lucky enough to have some of them when they either don't get picked or they're not picked in school cricket or it's holidays. So someone like a Jack Dermody, who's 16, he debuted against Woody South. It was a good chance to show these other young fellas that, if they're training and doing all the right things and, Glenelg's not for them, that we'd love to have them. And another young fella, Harry Cross, who's 16 as well. I think he'll be around the mark the next few years. But, there's young players everywhere. Isaac Hoare, who's been around for a fair while, but he's still quite young. Lewis Bond, Brad Kilo, off spinner. So, we've got a pretty young crew, but,
Nice.
And how is the depth of the club overall? You've got a lot of teams, but how is the depth down the grains?
Yeah, see, not too bad.
Yeah.
In terms of A1 cricket and our B grade and C grade list, not a heap this season, particularly not a heap of guys really banging the door down with form. But I think like our junior grades, we've got 18 junior sides, which is strong. So looking to really bring them through. And one thing I come in last year and wanted to change as the captain was having our under-17s train with our seniors. So made contact with parents in the off-season, made sure they trained all pre-season, and then they trained both Tuesday and Thursdays with us rather than having their own training. And every single under-17 this year has trained with us, and majority of them have played senior cricket this year. So I think that's a good way of retaining them and showing them that we care about them and we need them for the future. Yeah.
Yep.
And out of the teams you played so far, who would you think are the contenders for the flag?
See, Goodwood, a class team. And we said it after the game last week. Good teams just find a way to win, and we were in control for most of that match and lost. I haven't played Para Hills yet, but I've heard they're a good side, obviously. And I think Grange are coming hard.
Yep.
Big Chatty's up and about. The king of South Australian cricket, he reckons. So
Might get promoted back to the A grade next week.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So no, I think they're probably the three. Pracker as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so you guys are still in the mix. How do you see yourselves placed for Tilted finals in the back half?
I think if we can chase 300 this week,
Yep.
that'll set us up to be around the mark. We're only a game out, so at sixth. So yeah, it really hurts losing those tight ones, but you got to win them. But yeah, I think if we can have a good win this week, then we have Ingle Farm away next week. Or next game, and then we finish. But then we got Para Hills, so that'll be a tough game, and then we finish with Scotch. So, just got to keep winning and see what happens.
Definitely. And before we rip into the mad bin, I think we need to delve a bit more into that ACL injury, don't we? So, what exactly happened there? You lost your balance, or
you lost your balance. Yeah, no,
bit of a Glenn Maxwell type thing, or was it?
It was during COVID. Just went home to catch up with a few mates. Just wetting the whistle at the local.
Yeah.
And a mate come home from Queensland who I haven't seen for a while, and he jumped on me.
Okay.
And gave way, and down I went.
Which local was it? A great place for a cricket trip, Mount Gambier.
Yeah, the South Aussie Hotel front bar. Yep.
Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, Michael Silver, who you mentioned earlier, is now coaching Adelaide Uni. Is that
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
correct.
so he's doing good things out there.
He's incredible. He's one of the smartest cricket brains I've ever met and played with and learnt from, and a great person to have in cricket who definitely should be coaching A-grade district, if not higher. Yeah.
Brilliant. Fantastic. All right, Matt, we might rip you through the mad minute and see what you've got for us. Your favourite cricketing memory?
It's hard to go past Mount Gambier flags, playing with Michael Johnson, Michael Sylvie, my brother, best mates growing up. I think I've won maybe 5 A-grade flags back there, and they're still winning them today, as well as the flag at Glenelg. That was pretty special.
Yep.
Favourite cricketer?
Favourite cricketer? I always loved Mr. Cricket, Mike Hussey.
Yep.
He's intense, and he's just always looking to score, and he's aggressive. So, really
what
like
about
him.
favourite sports person?
I like Ricky Ponting, the way he breaks the game down and just off the field, the way he articulates, and I think he's got a pretty special cricket brain, so I love listening to him.
Yep.
Best thing about Brighton?
The best thing about Brighton, I think, for me, is the mateship. Like, some nights, you might be there at after dark, quite late, and you look around and there's still 20 or 25 people there, and that's why I love the place. You play cricket, and it doesn't matter what grade you are as well. Could be LO, C grade, B grade, A grade. You're all mixed in. There might be 4 from each grade still there at 1 a.m. and everyone's there for the club and for the right reasons. So I love the place.
Funniest teammate?
Funniest teammate, probably Gareth Pheasant, the great South African. What I've started doing this year is picking him up before every away game and driving him to the games, and I've been showing him The 12th Man by Billy Birmingham.
Yep.
And he's loving it. So yeah, he's quite funny.
That is interesting because when he was in here, I asked him, "So you want to come on the podcast?" I said, "Oh no, I'm too boring for that." So we might have to revisit that.
Yeah, he'll come on and recite some Billy Birmingham.
Fair enough. Best coach you've had?
It's hard to go past Michael Silvey from Mount Gambier. I've spoken about him a bit. So probably Sam McNally from Glenelg. He is a ruthless operator. And a good mate of mine, but he'd drop you. He'd be honest. He'd tell you why. They obviously won the T20 grand final last night, and he's a massive reason why. He's a great operator and a good man.
They were playing against a decent side too.
The unbelievable side. Runs on the board goes to show. Like last year, Glenelg lost to West Torrens. Bailey Capel and Kelvin Smith dominated the first 10 overs and runs on the board.
Yep.
And drink of choice.
Alcoholic. Don't mind a Corona or a vodka lime soda.
Or a Cooper's Pale Ale.
Or a Cooper's Pale Ale. Yeah, Fez, would he pick up some Australian lager?
I think he went the
thanks to
lagers,
Cooper's.
And you got the operations manager in here. So one thing that you reckon could improve the ATCA?
One thing for me, and speaking to a lot of players around the league, is looking at potentially going to a point system where if you win, there's your 10 points or whatever, and if you win outright, you get your 15 or 20 or whatever, however it works. And once you've won, you can shake hands if the captains agree, rather than, like we were talking about earlier, is against Hope Valley, we made 460. We bowled them out with 35 or so overs to go, and it was just too flat to bowl again and try and get the outright. And we made 460, and they were pretty flat, and I actually felt bad that they were out there all day, but we were like, we need the points because we know we've got a really tough run home, and yeah, it's something to look at for sure.
There you go, Shane. Take that one on board.
Noted, yes.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Matt, for having a chat to us about all things current Brighton. We might take a quick break and then come back and have a look at some of the results from the weekend.
Take your live sport entertainment to the next level at Sporties in the Aqaba Hotel.
We're back and we're better than ever, just in time for the footy with a brand new facelift, including new large LED screens, new outdoor area with booth seating, customised audio zones, brand new shuffleboard, brand new digital darts, all-day dining, and so much more. Same love for live sport. Sporties is Adelaide's home of live sport.
Take your live sport entertainment to the next level at Sporties in the Aqaba Hotel.
Welcome back to Straight Bat, talking Adelaide Turf Cricket. We're going to have a look at the results from last week and kick it off with A1, Matt.
Yeah, Brighton A1 v Paraka. So, yeah, great game. No, it might be, we'll see.
It could be, yeah.
But, 9 for 317 off their 80 overs. And they got off to a really good start. They've got a left-hander who's from England, Matthew Bromley. I actually spoke to Jake Pocock at a drinks break and just said, "Where's this guy come from? Like, is he an academy player?" And they said, "No, he just rocked up and he smacked them.
Yeah,
he looked dangerous." But they were none for 50 odd, and then we had them 3 for 77 with Mark Cosgrove in the sheds. We thought we might be on here, and then they really cashed in after tea and pushed it out to 316. Matthew Herman made 74, and Gareth Owen Pheasant from Brighton took 6 for 92 off his 24 overs.
Yep, so big chase next week, as do Old Scotch. You got to chase down 372 against Grange. Fantastic innings from Toby Kershaw there, 162. So even though you tipped Old Scotch, Shane, I can't see him chasing down 372, unfortunately.
You never know, it's not over yet. Next one, we had Hope Valley v Ingle Farm, and a game that might shape the relegation battle there. We've got Ingle Farm skittled for 57 in the first innings. In return, Hope Valley 9 for 138. So Ingle Farm will be hoping for a reverse outright there.
Yep.
So Para Hills 163 versus Woody South, with Tyson Rolling making 45 not out.
Interestingly poised, that one, isn't it? Yeah, so Goodwood 285, so doing what they do, put a good score on the board there. Adam Chislett 77, so Port Districts will find that tough, I think.
And the final game in A1s, we've got Prince Alfred, their runner form with the bat hasn't been that strong post
You tipped the
leading into
upset
Christmas.
here, I reckon, didn't you?
I did. I thought Trinity might go okay here, so it's kind of Prince Alfred's last roll of the dice to try and push into that 4 there. And Prince Alfred 146, Trinity 1 for 16, Jared Furnell 6 for 37.
Interestingly poised there. Swinging over to A2 and Paynham 125 versus Flinders Park 2 for 26. Daniel Clark took 4 for 28, so that's another even game, could go either way.
Yep, Marion bowled out for 143 versus Unley, and Unley are currently 2 for 61 with Ethan Rice, their overseas left armour, 4 for 28.
He's in good touch, mate.
Yeah,
100 last
player.
week, didn't he?
Yeah, in a bit of form, bat and ball.
Yep.
Next one, Woody Reckerbites, all out for 82. Versus Spock. Spock are 5 for 53. Spock are just kind of getting it done with their bowling attack at the moment. They're not making a whole heap of runs, but obviously, only needed another 30 in the sheds to get over Woody Reckerbites. So we'll see how that one pans out. And Hamish, I was hoping I didn't have to pronounce this one. Hamish 4 for 15. How would you pronounce that one there, Raj?
La Plastrier.
There we go.
Yep.
That's why you're the host.
Brahma Lodge 162, Havranella 1 for 10, Shane Brown 43. So Brahma Lodge well placed to cause a possible upset there.
I did mention that
I know
one
you
as
did,
well.
yeah,
I think, look, the Lions, they're not making huge scores. Their bowling is lethal. They bowl anyone out. So, Brahma a chance there.
Yep.
Game on here, Walkerville made 95, bowled out against the Adelaide Lions, who are now 3 for 43, with Prageeth, sorry if I pronounced this wrong, Kumasari.
Not bad, not bad.
He got 4 for 44, sorry mate, if you're listening.
And my boys, Jep, struggling a little bit out there against Golden Grove. Jep's skittled for 162. Marshall Khan making 98 of those, unfortunately. And Golden Grove off to a solid start at 2 for 76.
Rest of the boys didn't do much there, Shane.
No, a few outs again this year. It's been a bit of the story for Jeppy. So a lot of young kids playing in there, a lot of talent, but it's hard to rely on the young fellas.
And the other notable thing from the weekend, obviously, was the record partnership. Chad Sayers, I think 267. What did they put on, Shane? It was a lot.
Yeah, fairly handy. It was a 380 run partnership, which must be the second biggest partnership in ATCA. Obviously, Chad Sayers with the 267 not out, and Lee Perkins on 131. So, long day in the field. I guess I'm assuming he didn't get dropped. I'm assuming he's the slash player.
I would assume so, yes.
That's it. And knowing that he was a slash player, it looked like Mawson Lakes have tried to avoid his bowling and have put them into bat.
Yeah.
So not to face his bowling, but they've had to face his batting. So,
Backlash on social media there about him playing B1, but to be fair, I mean, he's putting his hand up to have a game of cricket for his club, so I don't think you can criticise him for that, can you?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And him playing in that team, they'll have young fellas playing there, and he can show them how to play. And you can never knock him for playing. Never.
No, it's good to see him go down playing the B grade, because it's easy. Someone of his status to know he can't play week 2, but then to go on and still represent the club in their B grades. It's good to see.
Yeah, fantastic. And any other results you need to wrap up on from the weekend, Shane, or any other news around Adelaide Turf circles? No,
just a bit going back on behind the scenes again this week. So, but no, that's
T20 quarterfinals will be coming up in a couple of weeks, or
yes, a couple of weeks. I think we've got a couple of games to finish off tomorrow night, and into it from there.
How'd you guys go in that one, Matt?
Yeah, we've struggled the last few years in T20s.
Yep.
Yeah.
No good.
No good.
Fair enough. Well, thanks to Paul for coming in and having a chat about all things Brighton. Great for you to bring us up to date with everything that was happening back in the day.
A long time ago, yeah. Thanks, Raj.
And we'll hopefully see you down at Brighton watching on the weekend, maybe.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Good man.
And Matt, thank you for coming in and having a chat, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
And Shane, we've got another episode coming up next week with a couple of lads from Pulteney, perhaps.
Yes, we've got some Pulteney All Scholars on, so I've got a bit of backlash for not really knowing how they were going back up in their resurgence to come back up to A-grade cricket. So, we'll have a chat with
find out all about that, hey?
Yes, we will.
Fantastic. All right, that's another edition of Straight Bat over and out, and we'll be back again next week. See you then. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.